Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of The Wind Down. Now, obviously this is, the Friday before Halloween. This is the Halloween episode, and we were gonna dress up for you all because we thought that would be fun, but we thought if we dressed up, you wouldn't take what we had to say seriously. So we opted not to, and we just dressed as ourselves. On that note, I'm going to pour some wine.
It's a great idea on a Friday night, especially before Halloween. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween. And I was just joking, by the way. I'm obviously a pumpkin, and Hillary's a cow. Mm-hmm. And these are my offspring.
They're already dressed for winter. They came out all
in sweaters. Yes, I'm a good mother. I'm a good pumpkin mother. Okay. Well, so I hope everyone can focus. I know it might be difficult. I know it's already difficult for me. We have a really beautiful wine.
We're drinking a Cabernet Sauvignon from Beaulieu Vineyards from Napa Valley.
Good. She was practicing that pronunciation prior to filming, and she just nailed it. So I feel like I just need to give you credit for that.
Thank you.
That was hard.
Because I do not understand French at all, nor can I speak it.
Sounded good to me.
Thank you.
Should we try?
Cheers, yeah.
Cheers. All right. Delicious.
Mm-hmm. Great for a Friday night.
Yeah, I needed that if I was going to wear this for the entirety of the episode. I'm sure this will help me forget. That I might look a fool. Mm-hmm. But you know what? 'Tis the season, right? Right.
I love dressing up.
I know.
It's fun.
It is fun. This is my favorite holiday. I think I talked about that already on Coffee with Kristen. I love this holiday. I always decorate. My husband makes fun of me because he comes home and the whole house has been turned upside down with Halloween stuff, and we have to watch a scary movie every night. It's a whole thing. So when y'all said that we could dress up, I was like, yes, I'm on board. So here we are.
Excellent.
This is not going to stop us from talking about financial topics.
Nope.
So
We've got very serious things to discuss today in very unserious outfits.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And wigs.
That's right. And wigs. A last minute addition, if you can tell. Mine needs a comb, potentially, but
Yeah.
Anyway, so we are gonna rewind back to ETF Stories, the episode on Detox, the company that focuses on clean living. Mm-hmm. I personally loved this episode. It was Monday's episode, and I found it really relatable because it's something that I try to be mindful of, not to say that I am an expert, and I don't want to pretend that I am, but I do try to be mindful about some of the choices I make with the food that I buy, and things for the environment as well, maybe not always taking the car, but taking your bike,
right,
things like that. On this episode, they gave a lot of statistics, and I don't remember all of them because I'm not a numbers person like that. I don't retain statistics and numbers for things, but I did pick up on the fact that they said that all generations are becoming more mindful of this way of living and the importance of it. So it's not just Gen Z or millennials, but it's also the boomers. They're actually starting to worry about, what is it that I'm actually putting in my body and have been putting in my body, and how am I treating this planet, and what does our future look like if we keep behaving like this?
Right. I think it was really interesting that all generations are thinking about cleaner living, but for different reasons, right? So boomers want to extend their life. So they're switching to cleaner living, specifically, organic and solar, because it can be less expensive. Right. So it can prolong, your fixed income.
Right.
Gen Xers and millennials are switching to it because of kids and having a cleaner lifestyle, because you're buying organic for your kids, so you're eating it as well.
Right.
Not everybody, but certainly a fair amount of millennials and Gen Xers. And then Gen Zers, which is not something they talked about, but it's funny. It's something that in my career, I work in clean beauty. So a lot of the statistics they were throwing out there, and a lot of these companies I have known about for a long time.
Really?
Yeah. So it was
yeah.
really interesting when they were mentioning how there's over 1,300 banned ingredients in the European Union in beauty products and only 11 in the US.
So
that
is true?
Oh, it's absolutely true.
I mean, it's kind of horrifying.
Which is why there are so many beauty companies. They mentioned Sephora.
Yeah.
There's also a couple of beauty retailers, including Credo and Detox Market.
Yeah.
And then there's Grove Collective that does mostly home stuff, but they also have a beauty section as well.
Wow.
That are really honing in on this cleaner beauty, cleaner ingredient story. Like that's all that they will buy and curate for their customers is products that fit their list.
So they're taking it into their own hands.
They're taking it.
It's not a requirement
yes,
yet here.
It is not a requirement. There is no requirement. So the word clean beauty here has different meanings depending on which retailer, which brand.
So you really need to do your research.
You really need to do your research.
This seems like the common thread between everything. You really need to do your research. Is there a specific brand that you recommend that you know is truly clean beauty?
So So the thing about clean beauty is that because there's so many different definitions, it really is. There's definitely ingredients that you probably want to stay away from. You know, your parabens are not that great for you. Yeah. Phthalates also not that great for you.
Okay.
But that being said, there's also other ingredients where, you know, buying all natural for a beauty product might not actually be the best for you because natural ingredients can also, whether it's an essential oil or some other natural ingredient, they can also be disruptive. So sometimes the scientific
people don't think about that.
Manufactured ingredient might actually be a better solve for you and be more effective. So it's about finding those brands that marry like the natural and the science, where they're taking the best of both worlds and bringing it to the consumer. Those are the brands that I personally use. Yeah. They're the ones that I have worked with both in the past and current job.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to pick your brain before I go and buy any makeup. So what about drugstore makeup? Is that a safe place to buy?
It can be. There are brands, so it's really interesting. Target now has an entire clean beauty section.
Really?
Walgreens has been getting back.
Love Target.
I mean, who doesn't?
Like all my outfits lately. I think when you have a kid, you just live in Target. I don't know. They have everything there.
Get your diapers, get all your vitamins, get all your stuff all together, get your clothing. You know, it's all great.
Full grocery shop. Yeah. Your Halloween costume.
Right.
I mean, it's all there. Yeah.
Halloween decorations.
Sounds like I'm plugging Target right now. The new spokesperson for Target now. But.
And they, because of this trend, this consumer trend that both Lenore and Chris were talking about, where it really is this groundswell of consumers pushing towards cleaner alternatives and cleaner options. Target has brought it in. Walgreens is bringing it in. You can find it at almost any retailer. You just do have to do the research and check some labels and just make sure that what they consider clean is also what you consider clean. Right. So it's about kind of cross-checking that.
I love that it's become a trend, but actually it's become a necessary trend. We need this shift to happen for the sake of our well-being and the planet's well-being, right? Right. And so it's not just like for monetary gain for these companies. They're reaping the benefits of following the trend, of course, but like these things need to happen as well, don't they?
Yeah. I think what's also interesting too, and it's not something that they touched on, and I can't remember where I had read this statistic, but at some point it has come up in my career, is that 70% of consumers will pay more if they think that a product is organic or cleaner. So I think that there's, I mean, me too. Given the choice, I'm like, oh, okay, something that's more sustainable or something that's going to be a cleaner option or organic, that's the one that I'm going to choose. Right. So it's not only these companies are doing it because they're following the trend, but it's because where the money is.
Yeah. I mean, which
is fine. Yes. You got to do both.
Yep. And I know both is happening. Yeah. But sometimes I have to laugh at myself because I love Cheez-Its. I love them. But they're just filled with crud. Like, there's nothing good in a Cheez-It, right? I don't even know if there's real cheese in a Cheez-It. But then you're in the store, you're in Whole Foods, and you walk by Annie's organic Cheez-Its, and you think, oh, it's organic.
Mm-hmm.
That one's good for me. I don't know. Is it? Or do we make excuses if it says organic? You know, if they put the right things on the box at this point, we're kind of like, oh, okay, now I can eat Cheez-Its again and mac and cheese and all of these things, right?
I think especially with anything you're consuming, it has to go back to just moderation, which is hard when it comes to Cheez-Its. Like, it's the entire box. For me, it's goldfish. Like, an entire bag of goldfish is
They have Annie's organic goldfish as well. Those are I have like 3 boxes at home. Yeah.
But, you know, it's more about, yes, organic is probably better for you in the long run. It is better for you in the long run, but you're still having the calories. So, which is fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a matter of making sure you're, you know, balancing it out. You're not having 3 boxes of Annie's every single day. Maybe just 1 day a week. Then you're good, right?
Yeah. Someone gave me advice once, and they said always read the ingredients, and there shouldn't be really more than 3 ingredients on any product. I mean, that's hardly any.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as long as you look at them, and if it's just like, you know, a novel's worth of ingredients, then you know that it's probably not the best thing for you.
Well, and my mom actually majored in nutrition in college.
Oh my God.
So we grew up pretty healthy.
Yeah, I bet.
Sometimes annoyingly so. You know, we didn't have candy around the house, although she baked. So she also always believed in having whole ingredients. So she cooked with butter, not with margarine because it's less processed.
Right.
I do the same thing. Not that margarine's bad, and there's people who shouldn't have all the cholesterol, but, you know, in her philosophy, it was just that, and having enough fat in your diet, then you don't eat actually as much because you get full.
Right.
And so you're just you're not consuming so many empty calories. You're just...
And they're real ingredients.
But I think it's really funny because she believes in organic stuff too, but she just is like, whatever's whole, like, that's what you should have.
Yeah.
And she always taught me to shop the outside of the supermarket. So you want to shop the outer aisles, which is where all the fresh stuff is. So the things that have little to no ingredients in them other than, you know, your fruits and veggies and milk and dairy and meats are all going to be on the outer edges, basically, versus all the processed stuff.
Processed foods is all in the center. That's so true, actually.
So that's what I do at the grocery store. I do the outer first, and then I go into the aisles.
Oh, that's super smart.
Because then I'm like, oh,
I need to try this.
I mean, canned food is great, you know, especially because it keeps frozen peas, like frozen corn, can't not have those, you know,
and like beans and
beans
like
and everything like that. Totally. But to your point, just making sure you're conscious of what's going in. And
we are my husband and I are both pescatarian. And again, I don't want to say that we are well researched enough to like speak on behalf of all of the reasons that we are, but we just feel like in general, we cut back on animal products. We don't overconsume them, but we aren't anti-consumption of animal products at all. I mean, we'll have cheese and we'll have things, but we try not to do it for every single meal, you know? And it's not that hard. You know, I sometimes feel so bad when I go to the grocery store and I just see like all of the meat on the shelves and I know how much waste there will be. And I'm like, oh, that was a living creature at one point and it didn't even get used, you know, it's hard to see, but you know, it is what it is. I kind of wish we could go back to the day where there was just one butcher in town, right? And then once he ran out of food, too bad. You're going to have split pea soup for the rest of the week or whatever.
Exactly. That, you know, closer to the land living and understanding also where your food comes from, I think is also a big part of it too. I think we are so far removed from the food chain. Most people don't, you know how livestock is manufactured these days. It's not really that they're being, you know, it is a manufacturing process to get it to the supermarket. That being said, I'm a meat eater, so I'm fully part of it, but, you know, try to be conscious of it. And I have an uncle who is an avid fisherman, and so he has for the last 20-something years ingrained into my head, you know, the fish that you should eat, the fishes that you shouldn't eat, the fish that you should eat farm versus wild caught.
I'd
so
love to
he's
sit down and have a conversation with him as a pescatarian.
Really interesting.
Yeah, that is fascinating.
Like 20 years ago, he was like, you should never have swordfish because it's overfished, so it's really bad. Most of the swordfish that are being caught these days are juvenile, so they haven't had a chance to, procreate. So they're not creating more swordfish.
Right.
And so I don't eat swordfish. I haven't not that I was having swordfish often, but
I know, I don't know if the opportunity has ever come up where I was like, oh, swordfish. And if it had, I probably would have skimmed that page. I don't know. But I feel like that wasn't when you're pregnant as well. Isn't that a no-no on the list of fish?
I believe so, because of the high mercury content too.
Yeah.
And then tilefish, and there's one other one.
I don't even know what kind of fish that is.
So Americans don't really eat tilefish all that often,
Okay.
but it is one of the ones you're not supposed to have.
You're not supposed to have. And you should be mindful of tuna as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not overdo it. Like, you're supposed to have it in moderation as well, right? Because of mercury.
Yes.
I mean,
But that's my favorite.
I know, it's so good. I know, I agree.
So good.
I love it. I know. Yeah, I thought it was so cool that like a couple of our episodes were talking about clean, healthy living, and that takes us to the Alkaline Company. Mm-hmm. Is that what
The Alkaline Water Company.
The Alkaline Water Company.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Alkaline 88
yeah,
is their product.
And that is becoming so popular as well, like clean drinking water that is infused with electrolytes, and they call it functioning water because it actually does something for your body. It's like, can I say water on crack? I don't know.
I mean, you can.
And I did. But they were talking about how they it keeps expanding their business, adding natural flavor, so people aren't resorting to, I say pop, I'm from Michigan.
Oh, soda. It's soda.
You're probably right, because pop sounds ridiculous, but
my grandparents used to call it soda pop. So
soda pop. That's just
They were from Illinois.
That's indulgent.
So it was like soda pop.
Soda.
You want a soda pop? And I was like, you mean a soda?
Yeah, it's
because I'm in middle school and a jerk.
I know. I stopped drinking pop years ago. I'm just not into, the liquid sugars, except for,
fermented ones.
Mm-hmm. This is completely natural. These are natural sugars. Clean living, folks, clean living. So the Alkaline Water Company, they talked about adding natural flavors as well, with having that alkaline base, and then having CBD. Mm-hmm. I've never heard of CBD water, and I know CBD is like super popular. They have CBD bath bombs and
CBD bath oils and body oils and facial serums.
It's huge right now.
Yeah, and edibles, gummies and gum and all the things.
Yes. My husband has actually used them for stage fright. He is also an actor on stage, and he sometimes suffers from stage fright, and he has tried that because it was recommended to him, and I think it's helped him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, they even have CBD for your dog.
Oh, I've heard of this. I think I have a friend. I do have a friend
for dogs who are very anxious and nervous.
A very anxious dog.
Not that I'm comparing your husband to a dog, but I'm
there's some similarities.
The benefits can be across
the board.
Species.
Absolutely. CBD for all.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think that there's a lot of CBD is an ever expanding space, and it's such a buzzy ingredient right now that I'm not surprised that they are going after CBD as an ingestible ingredient in their waters, because it really can help a lot of people with calming down. It's a great nootropic that helps you, can help your brain just relax.
Neurotropic. You heard it here first, folks. Continue.
Yep.
I love when you throw at us the
this is what I do. This is part of my daily.
This is amazing. I'm sitting with the right person right now. The right cow.
The right cow on the couch. So I think that CBD is such a smart way. The only issue, and they didn't talk about this they didn't touch on this, but distribution of ingestible CBD products is tougher. Like, you can't just put it in your normal grocery store or your CVS or your Walgreens, which it sounds like they have distribution in all those places.
What are the steps that they would have to take to, like, who do they have to go through?
Because it's kind of state by state regulated at this point.
Right.
Different.
Even for CBD?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I thought that was kind of a safe, universal, but not yet.
It technically should be, but there are some states that are a little bit more hesitant about it. And so retailers are more hesitant because they get put at the liability by carrying something that maybe the government can come after them for whatever reason.
Right.
So that to me was just an interesting thing that they didn't touch on, was that distribution of the CBD product might be a little bit tougher for them to get out there, even though it is a great functional ingredient and really can be super helpful for a lot of people.
Right.
So I just think that was an interesting thing.
Or even if they get all of their ducks in order to create a really good CBD water product, and then when the time comes that it's easier to distribute, they're ready. Right. And they're like, oh, well, we've been working on this. Right. And now we're going to slip in.
Exactly. You know? And maybe we have distribution in all these places in these states where people know it and understand it, and we can just expand to these other states that
they've already built their reputation in these places, and now it's expanding to other places. CBD water. It'll be interesting to follow their journey with that business. I mean, they're already really established, and he's done such a wonderful job with the company. And it's like we talked about last week with technology. It's like everything, these companies just having to keep up with the latest trends and science. Right. It just is, it changes so quickly.
It changes so quickly. And there's just, I mean, it's so interesting to see also new ingredients that come up. I mean, it'll be probably in the next couple of years, it'll be CBD plus something else. You're already seeing other terpenes that they're pulling out of the CBD isolate that might have even more benefits than CBD.
Terpenes that they're pulling out of the CBD isolate. What? Oh, I'm gonna go home and use that on my husband. He'll be like, who are you?
These are things that I have to know for work. I mean, I don't know them as intensely as I probably should, especially, but I do get to talk to a lot of brands and a lot of formulators who are really excited about the products and really excited about
They put it in lotions as well, don't they?
Yeah.
And
because it's really great for anti-inflammatory reasons.
Yes. I had a bad back and Tam got me, it was a CBD stick that you can rub on, and now both of us are obsessed with this. I swear by it. I really do. I don't remember what it's called either, otherwise I would plug it for you, but I don't remember, but it really, really made a huge difference.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you just have other skin ailments, whether it's like a sore muscle or something like that, even if you just have stressed out skin, like you might have super dry skin, CBD can be very calming for it.
Really?
Yeah. So it just
really dry skin.
It just depends on what you're looking for, but they're also finding other benefits these days. Kind of like how we learned last week with Juva, is that he's doing all this medical research to see what else cannabis can do. There's a lot of research that's being done of what CBD can also do. I mean, Cannabis sativa, so it is part of that same family, though they're two different strains. Right. But I think it's a really interesting and a really growing part. And I think it's really exciting that these things are now destigmatized somewhat to where people can be doing research on them. And it's not just, I don't know, some guy in his basement. It's like fully funded by companies that are vetting scientists.
Well, people are really wanting to get on board with investing in these companies because they know that they're likely to be super successful. I mean, people are really excited about cannabis becoming legalized everywhere, and I mean CBD, I didn't even know that there were still restrictions on that, but as that becomes more and more popular as well, which it is, I mean, it seems like it's everywhere. Yeah. But I think it's an exciting time of innovation and change for cleaner living, and it's an important time because we know that we're in a climate crisis as well, and So these conversations just need to be happening. And I was excited to see that we had some episodes that were, you know, focused on that and also investing in it too. And I think it's a great monetary opportunity, but also it's a necessary one.
So in my day-to-day job, one of the things that I'm most excited about in the cleaner living space is something that Chris kind of touched on with Native and their paper packaging, also Alkaline Water Company with their aluminum packaging, but just these brands and that are really going after having a more sustainable packaging, because that is really one of the worst things that we have going on right now is the overwhelming amount of garbage, plastic that's not actually getting recycled. And so how do we change that? And I work in the beauty industry, and so it's one of the worst places, one of the worst offenders. And I think it's really great that there are companies that are taking this as a personal mantra that they are going to help change this in the industry.
Is there a noticeable shift in the beauty industry that you're noticing with companies, within companies, of creating more sustainable packaging?
And absolutely. There it is definitely, and some people are saying it loud and proud, and other people are just doing it quietly because it's the right thing to do.
Really?
And I think it's great. And it's great to see that what consumers are going after is also what companies are going after.
Because it does matter to the consumer. I mean, maybe not all, but as we are learning, many from all generations, like people are starting to pay attention. So these are great things to pay attention to when making new investments. I mean, truly, I think. Yeah, for the good of your portfolio and for the good of the world, our bodies, everything, right?
Everything.
It's all encompassing.
So here's to cleaner living.
Here is to cleaner living and another episode of the wind down. Week 4? How have we been doing this a month?
Wow. I know.
Exciting. It's just going to get better and better.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everyone.